crazy. I think it was such a, I mean, if you look at, like, there was no offshoot, they all failed. I kind of think Seinfeld was the same way. I think they were both the same way. It was such a great, like, collective group of people, because none of them were, like, this sort of, like, I'm the star, blah, 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 and they all had their own, like, flaws and problems, but also their lovable characteristics that, like, together, it worked as a group. Yeah. And so, like, in Friends, I didn't have a favorite, to be honest. I liked Phoebe a lot, but I didn't have a favorite. But as a group, collectively, very, very fucking well-written. A great show. Really great show.
See, I feel that same way about Seinfeld, just, like, in the sense of they didn't really try to be endearing. Like what Friends did that was different was, like, they wanted you to actually feel for these characters, where, like, Seinfeld, it literally just four very unlikable, like, from the outside, like, neurotic people.
Totally. I feel the same way, too. I feel about both shows.
They all make just selfish decisions. Friends, everybody makes selfish decisions all the time, but for some reason you don't notice it as intensely because there's this love thing, you know, like there was never, like, really love interest in Seinfeld. There was never, like, anybody that you were just, like, really hoping would come together or anything like that.
I don't know. I'm okay with not having that. I think sometimes that shit ruins.
Oh, I know. That's what Friends, like, that was 50% of Friends, though, I feel, was just, like,
you're
relationships
right.
mattering.
But I was like, boo.
Yeah,
get out of here with this.
I'm with you on this. Teresa. Like, as a grown-up.
Thank you. Thank you.
The reason we talk about Friends so much is because, well, like, the reason it started is because when I watched Friends when it came out on Netflix and I rewatched it as an adult, I was really mad because through the veil, they're all terrible people. They're all, like, they all are really bad people.
Totally.
You can only pick a favorite by just being like, who just lines up with my sensibilities a little bit more, and who also just overall did less shitty things. And I'm a Joey guy.
I'm changing the subject.
Yeah. So that's the warm up. We like to alienate our guests immediately into the.
I'm going to ask a related question. It's related to what we're talking about, but also slightly changing the subject. So I made the noise. I didn't want to, like, not honor the request.
Is there not a bass in here?
You're so cute.
No, we have no.
We have two guitars, no bass in here.
Sorry. So, a question. You said that you were. You were living in the world where there were two camps of which show that you like in the 90s. Had you already started writing and performing comedy in the 90s, or what was going on? How did you start your career? When did you go to New York? Give us the beginning.
Yeah.
Sure. So I was a kid in the 90s, and I was watching Seinfeld. Basically, I mean, kind of by myself. My family wasn't super into it. I have a huge family, and they're all very religious. And I have 7 siblings. There are 8 of us total. And my parents were very religious. They raised us very religious. And my whole life growing up, I've loved TV so much. I mean, watching it for, like, hours and hours and hours. And, I mean, it's nice now because that's called, like, binge watching, and it's, like, normalized. So back then, it wasn't. And, like, my parents thought I had a problem. But whatever. So I watched TV for, like, hours, and I was just, like, a kid, and I had my favorite shows, and I would, like, kind of analyze, you know, what worked, what didn't work. And I was always,
was this in New York? You grew up in New York?
Comedy. Oh, no, I kind of grew up all over. I claim Kansas City, Missouri. That's where my parents are now. That's where I went to college, and that's where I spent a lot of my youth. We moved around a lot. It was my dad's job, so we lived in all around Missouri. We lived in Branson. We lived in Kansas City. We also lived in Virginia, like Northern Virginia area and Southern Virginia area. Briefly lived in Maryland. So we were kind of, like, all over the place, which was nice to see how different people live.
Yeah,
and honestly, that affects my writing a lot because it's nice not to be in a bubble and only have, like, one sort of opinion on who people are. But anyway, so I would watch a lot of TV and, like, just, like, obsessed with it and just really drawn and attracted to it. So, I mean, I would go to school and, like, elementary school, and, there were some people who were watching Seinfeld. I mean, I was like 10 years old and I was watching Seinfeld, and, like, no one really was watching Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Other friends, really. but I was like these adult shows. So I was always drawn to comedies, but I was doing like musical theater and acting and all sorts of like musical shit. I didn't really get into comedy until like I graduated from college.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really think it was like a real profession or like a real like route for life.
Yeah.
I studied like musical theater and opera and journalism in college, and I wanted to be an opera singer. Yeah. And then I was like, I like belting and being sassy, so I think I'm going to do musical theater. So I switched my major. And then after college, after my senior year, I was like, I don't think I want to do this. And like I was also doing free law, and my goal was to be a prosecutor. And then I majored at I'm like jumping all over the place. Don't know if I'm incoherent. Okay. I interned at the prosecutor's office, and I just hated it so much. And I loved reading cases, and I loved going to court and seeing them play out, and seeing, the beginning to the end of a case. I loved, like, reading the evidence as it came in. I loved, like, seeing the cops talk to the prosecutors, and then I loved, like, watching jury selection and the trial take place. But what I hated about it a lot was I really had a problem with, I would read cases, and I would be like, there is no case here at all. And it would be, like, really high stakes. And these people's lives were on the line, and I'd be like, there is no case here. And other cases, I would be like, I don't think this person did it. I really don't. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter your personal opinion. If you were assigned the case, you had to prosecute it to your best ability and get a conviction. And, like, that really bothered me because I had a problem with, ruining someone's life if I didn't really believe in it.
Right.
So I was like, I don't think I could do this. What the fuck am I going to do? Because I had prepared for this ending, and, the ending I didn't like. So I was like, fuck. And then actually, it sounds a little silly, but I started watching 30 Rock, and I was like, what the fuck? You could be a comedy writer? What the fuck is that?
And everyone stays alive?
Do what?
Is then everybody stays alive depending on your actions?
Getting out of jail,
Yeah.
Yeah. I started watching 30 Rock, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't know this was an option. Is this a real thing? And I started doing research on, like, Tina Fey and how she became a comedy writer. It's like, she did improv at Second City and blah, blah, blah. And I was going to plan on moving to Chicago. It's like, I think this is what I want to do. It's really stupid, but, like, I don't think I'm going to be happy doing anything else. So I was planning on moving to Chicago to study at Second City. And then my sister, who was living in New York, she was working in finance, and she was living with her fiancé. And he was crazy, so she broke up with him, and like was really like a mess. And they were living together.
The fiancé part.
Say that again.
Creepy after the fiancé part. We don't have to go down this road. Your sister doesn't deserve this. We can keep going. Yeah, sorry.
All right, so.
Oh yeah, I can.
So yeah. Second City.
So she did a roommate. So I moved here to New York and started studying improv at the UCB after college. And after I did improv, I love improv. Honestly, improv is one of the coolest. It's one of the most gratifying things in the world to really just live in your psyche, to live in your kind of stream of conscious and not like think, but just act and react and listen and connect with your stage partner. One of the most satisfying things I've ever done in my life. But I was like, well, I don't really think I don't really have a body of work, and I've done this for like 2 years. I should try something else. So I started doing stand-up and video production, and here I am today.
Awesome.
And that's that.
Well, I have a question to jump back a little bit. How many church plays did you have to perform in as a child? Because that's kind of where I did a lot, like...
Church plays?
Yeah. It was like, there was, of course, like the kindergarten thing, right?
Yeah.
Where they make you dress up as whatever the Christmas play is about.
I know all the church sign language because of those sort of things, too.
Yeah, that was... So I was just curious if your church did that at all, and if that kind of helped mold you a little bit.
Totally. I mean, I have to say, I don't consider myself a religious person. I hate to those people like I'm spiritual but not religious. So that's definitely what I am. I really appreciate religion in its purest form. Any religion, anybody who like pursues goodness in the world is fucking great, and I love it. I don't care what like denomination it is. But I mean, I don't ascribe to anything. But one of the great things I find about Protestant religion is the presence of music and appreciation of the arts. I was actually raised Mormon, and like I'm currently not Mormon. I haven't been for like a very long time. But they're very, very, very appreciative of the arts. And from a young age, you learn instruments, you sing, you play the piano, you conduct, all this stuff. You do like musicals, you do orchestra, blah blah blah, all this stuff. And it's a part of it's a part of praising God, music. And I mean, even now, I one of the things I love about music is every time I hear it, I'm like, wow, this doesn't feel like it feels like something that is from another place. I mean, when I hear like Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, maybe I've ever heard that, but like it's just fucking godly. It's just like I listen to it, I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Oh my god! I'm just like taken to another place that doesn't feel like it's here. You know what I mean? So I think that's awesome, and I think that is a great thing about it. But so I would do all sorts of stuff. My dad actually, we had like a family band, so we all play like instruments and stuff. And I played the violin and sang, and just like and like my dad loved it. He's like, "We're like the Von Trapp guys." It was just like the sound of music.
We know. We know.
This is great.
We're all a bunch of theater kids. Come on now.
I love it. I'm so used to
that was my first tryout. My first audition was for community theater.
I think I know
Sound of
every
Music.
song from Sound of Music, yet I haven't seen the movie. Smack me on the wrist.
Wow.
I know. Never seen it. But I know all the songs.
It's so good.
Yeah, I'm
so good.
embarrassed how late I discovered that had anything to do with Nazis or anything. Because I remember seeing,
Well, you're from South Carolina. It kind of seemed like every day.
Yeah. It sucks finding out about Nazis in your 20s. No, I'm just kidding.
At any age, it sucks to find out about Nazis.
No, but
I wish none of us had to find out about Nazis, to be honest with you.
Right, but if you just see the clips of the songs and stuff, this seemed like a very pleasant, a very pleasant film. It seems like everything's super upbeat.
Now I'm curious if somebody's put together a cut where the Nazis are just cut all out.
I think you could.
Like George Lucas and Spielberg just put it.
High.
She just says hello, and then like they hang out, and then
they walk around in a field, they skip around, everything's good.
Ice,
you could also just cut in Jar Jar Binks if you wanted to make it really.
Sure. Sure, this
movie's going too well. Let's put in Jar Jar Binks.
Just a couple of ghosts like Darth Vader and Yoda and stuff like.
Julie Andrews, fuck her. Let's really ruin this movie. Good Lord,
sorry.
we've taken a dark turn, Teresa. We're so sorry. You were talking about the beauty of music.
No, yeah.
In fact, may I say, when you were discussing the beauty of music, I was actually thinking just the other day. I've been writing comedy for a long time, writing theater, and I have always seek to write stuff that has a similar strength to it. Like, because you're right, music, like, it reaches people in a totally different way. It reaches people in a way that, like, pulls their heartstrings and, like, makes them on board with you immediately. And it's so much harder when you're writing words for comedy. And you want to do the same thing. You want to be like, hey, audience, here's a thing that we've all gone through. Check it out. Like, watch me explain it to you in this, like, specific... I'm going to take you on a journey about this particular topic. But it's somehow, like, I always want to achieve the beauty, the, like, magic of music. I have a hard time, though.
I've always wanted a mosh pit to break out at one of my, like, stand-up shows. Like
great.
to elicit... because, like, music can make you respond in several different ways. Yeah, you can, like, it can
wanna
make your heart,
people.
you can get goosebumps, you could feel, like, awesome feelings. Or you could just be so excited and energetic that you just want to like fight everybody so that you're the only one listening to it around you, you know? And like there's like a response, like there's several responses you